Hi, good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about the sources of Christian morality, specifically the natural law. We have done already the lesson about the other sources of Christian morality, which is the scripture, and we learned that morality is important for everyone. However, not everyone is exposed to the scripture or even heard of God or even heard about the Ten Commandments or the Decalogue or the Gospel of Jesus. So, how could those people who were not able to read the Bible could follow the moral rules? Saint Thomas Aquinas theorized that we are instilled with those tools that we need in order for us to know God. In philosophy, we understand this one as those part of our intelligence or power of human person, which is the intellect and will. However, we will not discuss about those philosophical matter of these things. But that idea of St. Thomas Aquinas is known as the natural law theory. To further deepen our understanding about natural law and to know about the other laws, we need to discuss first the term law in order for us to clarify our understanding about it and to broaden our perspective of it. So, what is law? Commonly, we understand law as a legislative or judicial matter that is being dealt by judges, attorneys, lawyers, and being done in the courtroom only or in the Senate. However, laws are not only those matter, although those are part of the law, specifically the human law, the civil law, but it is not the law or the entire law in its full nature. When we say law, it is an ordinance of reason for common good promulgated by the one in charge of the community. And according to St. Thomas Aquinas, law is primarily a reasonable plan of action, a certain rule or measure of act whereby man is induced to act or restrained from acting. So it widens our perspective that law is not only there to restrain our freedom, but it is there in that definition, it is there to guide our action. It is similar to a teacher guiding us in our activities. So that is law because sometimes we misunderstood law as something that actually removes our freedom, but that is not the nature of law. The nature of law is to guide us in our moral conduct. And there are several types of law. Do you know some of those several types? Of course, let us begin with the eternal law. The eternal law is the divine wisdom of God, which oversees the common good and governs everything. It is also understood as the universal law, where God directs and governs the universe, the rising of the sun in its setting, and also the rotation of the planets around the solar system, and not only the universe, but also the way of the human community according to his plan of wisdom. And next to eternal law is the revealed moral law. If there are laws that we could say it's eternal law that coming from God, a divine law that coming from God, which we observe in the reality around us, there are also law which is given to us through God's self-revelation, where God revealed himself to the prophets or His self-revelation in Jesus Christ. The norms contained in the word of the scripture, the Bible, as revealed by God, is the revealed divine law. It is the rational wisdom of God to guide us in our action. And next is the natural law. The natural law is a universal moral law built into the beings, the creatures of God. By God, when creating them, He actually made those moral laws accessible in the capacity of those being, in human being, in the light of reason. That is why we are capable of discerning what is good and what is evil, and of course doing what is good and avoiding what is evil. Like what I've told you, it is the natural moral law built into the creatures of God. Like for example, the sunlight and the water is good for the plants. That is why the plant is moved towards the sunlight. It tries to reach us the sunlight as it grows, and also it tries to reach us the water in the ground as the roots of the plants also grows. And of course, for those lions, tigers, and other carnivorous animal, they are moved towards the meat because that is good in their nature. And similar goes to human being. It binds us to seek the good fitting in our rational nature. And the things that were designed to seek by human beings are known as the basic good. And according to St. Thomas Aquinas, there are 7 basic good. And that is why it is also understood as the 7 inclinations. First is the inclination to the good. That is why we tend to experience things around us and we identify what is good and what is evil, and we are moved towards what is good. If we think money is good for us, then we are moved towards that one. That is the first inclination. If we think our family is good for us, we are moved to take care of our family. The inclination to the good. Second is the inclination to self-preservation. That is why, despite the pandemic or the challenges in life, the problems that we experience in life, we strive to survive. We keep on fighting. We are moved towards that self-preservation. Third, and of course, fourth, is the inclination to sexual union. Of course, hindi lang naman yan sexual union because after the sexual union, we bear offspring. And the fourth inclination is the rearing of offspring, to take care of our sons and daughters. The fifth inclination is the inclination to the knowledge of truth. That is why we really try our best to know the truths about reality around us, about the things that are happening in us, about the true nature of things. And of course, the source of truth himself, which is God. The sixth inclination is the inclination to live in society. That is why we really try our best. I've just noticed in the social media and other social sites, there are a lot of people trying their best to fit in the society, doing things that are hilarious in that sense, as long as they are able to fit themselves to what is trend in the society, to say that they belong in the society, because that is part of our inclination to live in society. And in relation to that, is the inclination to avoid offenses. We try as much as possible not to have offense with one another. So those are the seven inclination or the seven basic goods that moves us to do certain things. And those things are not installed to us by the scripture, but it is there already in our nature. And that is why it is part of the natural law. And always remember that the nature of the natural law is universal. Meaning to say, it is true to all. Di mo naman masasabi na those who have inclination towards or to the good are those who are rich people. No. Also, those who are poor people, those who do not have things to buy for themselves, are still having those inclination to the good. Maybe their good varies, but that inclination is universal to all. And of course, the natural law is immutable and invariable, meaning to say it doesn't changes. Hindi yun magbabago kahit naging mayaman ka na or graduate ka na. That is part already of our nature. That is part of the nature that we have. So that is the natural law. And by that, we learn to do what is good. We learn to become good in the society. So that is another source of Christian morality, the natural law. And of course, even though our discussion is about the natural law, I will also include the human law. Human law deals with the judicial order of the society. It is be either the state or the church who promulgate it insofar as this order is to determined by the law enacted for the common good of the society. Of course, the human law is enforceable, obligatory, and of course, it concerned with external conduct only. And somehow it has limitation for Davao City, we have local ordinance. Manila have their own local ordinance, and even in the bigger picture of United States and Philippines and China have their own um, ordinances. So it is limited to particular groups or history because we revise our civil law and condition kung ano yung nai-experience ng society and what is good for that society at that moment. So in that sense, human law is flexible, immutable. However, because it is a byproduct of human reason, these human law are fallible, meaning to say it is somehow could be subject to error. Pwedeng magkamali. Okay? Kasi it is a byproduct of human reason. And there are two classification of human law. The formal and informal form of human law. The formal form is of course those that are written in codes or codified. Those are the Republic Act in the Philippines, the um, local ordinance, which is promulgated by the government or by the church. And the informal are our traditions, standards, and the norms that we have either in our friends, diba? The codes that we have in our friends, like bro codes, diba? Those are the example of informal law. And I hope you learned something today. I hope natutunan nyo yung human law, yung revealed law, natural law, eternal law, and by that, you learn to realize that although scripture is important for us to guide our action, we could not deny the, oh, hindi ako nakapagbasa ng sacred scripture, so I am actually exempted in doing good. No, there are already built in us tools that is necessary for us in order to know what is good. So I hope you will continue to do what is good and to learn what is good as you discerned every day in your life whenever you do a certain decision in your life. And I hope you learned something today. God bless everyone, and that's all for today.